But I just want to follow up a little bit on the movies that were in my top five um, favorite of all time, non-horror edition. God, I need to just hold this up here. Um, I just want to cover a couple of things about those because I've had some people say that they've only seen specific ones, and I really think that everybody should go out and see True Romance, especially if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino. I'm not so much of a fan of him lately because of things that he's done, but I I'm a fan of his script for that movie. So, and Scott's visuals are amazing, and the story in and of itself is fantastic. The whole, um, between Alabama and Clarence is just kind of mind-blowingly amazing. Um, and it's one of those things when you're a nerd because in the movie Clarence is a nerd, and he meets this girl at this Street Fighter. Like when I say Street Fighter, I don't mean. Should I be looking here? I think I should be looking here. When I say Street Fighter, I don't mean like the Jean Claude Van Damme movie. We're talking like Sonny Chiba, the whole when he does his ass whooping and rips people's throats out and stuff, the good stuff. And he meets her at this marathon, and they kind of fall in love, or they have sex. But then she reveals that she's a prostitute, and his boss got her for him for his birthday, and yeah. So, but then they fall in love, and it's a whirlwind type thing. Um, they kind of become like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde. They have a ton of dope. Is it dope or is it coke? Coke. It's coke. A lot of coke, and it's coke that they stole from Christopher Walken. That's another thing. It's an all-star cast. It's ridiculous. It's Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette. You've got Gary Oldman, Samuel L. Jackson, Brad Pitt, Val Kilmer, Dennis Hopper. Um, it's crazy. Um, and I really don't think if Tarantino had directed this movie, it would have gotten the stars that it did. I think Tony Scott being at the helm really helped quite a bit. So that's a movie that I really feel everybody should go and check out if you haven't seen True Romance. Um, my number four was Caddyshack. I don't have much to say about Caddyshack. Everybody's seen Caddyshack. That's just a given. I'm trying to see if you're in the chat, say something. Say hi. There's my hand. Um, but Caddyshack is just really funny. The slobs versus the snobs, and a great performance by Bill Murray. I'm not much of a Chevy Chase guy, but his performance here is good. And I mean, just go if you like comedy, if you like to laugh, and if you're into like lowbrow stuff, because this is pretty lowbrow, but it's still funny. My number three was the Monty Python's Meaning of Life. Now, why at the time I said it was a controversial pick is because everybody loves Holy Grail, or Life of Brian seems to be the biggest one that everybody loves. It's like, hey, it's Life of Brian, and it's just like this perfect film to people. But for me, while I appreciate Holy Grail and I love it, and I love Life of Brian, the thing about it is Meaning of Life seems more like the show. Like it's more sketches that are put together to form something bigger. And while the show doesn't always do that, it's still kind of it's cool. So that's why I like it the most. And plus, I think the satire is really on point with that one. And their reveal at the end when they give away what the meaning of life is pretty spectacular. Um, Nerds, it's not 42. I'll just say that. And then we have my number two pick, which was The Great Dictator, which I'm noticing now. I don't know what it's called, but it's that thing where when you see one thing and then you start seeing it everywhere. That thing. That's going on now with Great Dictator lately. Um, I mean, it could be because of the whole political climate and that being like the first shot at Hitler. Um, but Chaplin did something with this movie that was just, I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. Um, the man may have been kind of a dick. Let's just say it. But, I mean, the people who are probably the most dickish are the ones that put out the best movies. You know, Hitchcock, Chaplin. I heard Kubrick was kind of a d-bag, but look at what he put out. You know, it's amazing, amazing, amazing material. So I guess if I'm ever gonna make an amazing film, I should probably be an ass, but probably not. No. I like doing this. This is fun. Every Tuesday I'm gonna be doing it. So tell your friends. Um, my number one was Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane has a lot of weird connections, and they're little tiny nitpick connections to me. Like it was released on my birthday. In Orson Welles is from Wisconsin. He was born on the 6th of May, which is 5 days from my birthday. And I always sit here and think, oh, this is it's Kismet. Is that what they call it? Kismet? I don't know. But um, ever since I saw that film, it's just like it's a magical piece of cinema, um, and it, it blows my mind how good it is. And it goes into, and if you watch RKO 281 like I recommended, you get to see how he just destroyed this floor to get this shot where the camera is like seeing the entire room, and it's just amazing. Um, I I love it so much. Um, and I understand that there's probably logistic issues, and I'm sure you probably couldn't get any more content out of it. But I would love to see a Criterion release of Citizen Kane. I would love it. I would also love to see a Criterion release of the original Dawn of the Dead, but it's never going to happen as long as Richard Rubenstein's alive. So, universe, are you listening? Are you? Um, and I don't want to make so that's my top five, and that's me delving into it a little bit more than in 5 minutes. And we'll talk about the 300-second review show in a little bit and what the first episode is going to be. But I want to get into some of my favorite horror films because I know that I'm a horror guy. That's mainly what I've made when it comes to film. And I want to just go through a couple of people who are inspirational to me, who I look up to. I mean, let's be real honest. First and foremost is George Romero. He didn't open the door to horror for me. Tobe Hooper did. And we'll get into that story in a second, which you've probably all heard if you've heard in any kind of interviews with me. But, let's start with anyway. My dad, I was at my dad's house, and he passed out in his chair, and I saw a tape in the VCR, and I pushed it in, didn't have a label, and it was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Bubba was putting the woman on the hook. And to this day, that movie means so much to me. I have a Texas Chainsaw Massacre shirt that's the Spanish poster. I have the theatrical poster. It's not the original one. Not loaded. And I have it on Blu-ray. And I love that movie. I try to watch it at least once every 1 or 2 months. I try to watch it. It's just I love that movie. And the performances are so amazing, and it's such a dark comedy. When I say dark comedy, it's like the lights are off and you can't see anything kind of dark comedy. I think Tobe Hooper called it a red comedy. But anyway, my whole entree into horror was seeing Leatherface put a woman on a hook. And I know to the uninitiated, it would be like, oh, that's the bloodiest movie. I'm like, you know what? They messed with your head. They messed with your head because there's a lot of dried blood on the wall and on Sally's face. But you never see any kind of the movie that got me into horror. And then after that, I saw Night of the Living Dead. And it's like, okay, you don't need much to make a movie. Uh, and then I saw Dawn of the Dead. And at first, I was kind of scared of Dawn of the Dead. Truth be told, I saw the trailer where it shows like the SWAT team attacking the apartment tenement and little things. It never doesn't get into too much plot, but like the voiceover and things like that really bugged me. I was young, and I was just really getting into horror. And I remember seeing a movie called Prey, and my buddy Michael Veers. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Veers. I can't. He's my boy. He's awesome. He'll forgive me. Um, he got it through Vinegar Syndrome, and they did a big Blu-ray release of it. And I kind of want to see the transfer, but this movie is horrible. This movie is just awful. It's also in Horror Movie a Day, the book by Brian Collins, which I think is on Kindle now or something. I don't know, or paperback. But yeah, so um, that's a book I'd love to have on my grubby little paws. But I don't. This movie it was so bad. You can't take the monster seriously if he looks like a freaking teddy bear. That's just the way it is. If he looks like a teddy bear, you can't really take him seriously. Um, but yeah, so then I saw Dawn, and I was just like, that's it. I got to do it. I didn't see Halloween or anything like that. Um, that didn't inspire me too much because at that point I had kind of. And plus, I'm more of a Jason guy. Truth be told, I'm more of a Jason Voorhees fan. Um, but yeah, no. So it was those two films that got me into horror, and for a while, after I made my big portion of my films, and I haven't made anything in a while, and I'm going to, I promise. One way or another, I have two films in pre-production right now that I wrote and I'm executive producing. But I kind of have to. Um, I kind of have to get back behind the monitor, in the director's chair. I feel like this kind of urge to do it, and I love making videos on YouTube for you guys. I think it's so much fun, and it helps me keep sharp and talk about movies, which is what I love. Um, but I feel like I really got to get back behind the monitor, in the director's chair. But it's where I feel at home. You know, I when we shot Becoming Undead 2, and we were in the super cold in the backyard shooting that sequence in the beginning. I was freezing my ass off. Not to say Crystal wasn't, but I was cold. Everybody was cold. But I couldn't have been happier. I was directing something I wrote. I had people helping me achieve my vision. And I know it sounds sappy as all hell, but I'm a sentimental old bastard. It's just the way it is. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of at a place where I want to make more shorts, but I also feel like maybe it's time for a feature. Um, but I'd want to go super low budget. I'd want to do something along the lines of like Buried with Ryan Reynolds or Lock with Tom Hardy. Basically, bottle movie. I'm gonna do a bottle movie. You know, like 12 Angry Men, which is an amazing, amazing film that I'd love to get my hands on with Criterion someday. Because anytime you can pull off a 90-minute to 2-hour movie, and it's just in one location with all your actors and actresses, and have it be engaging, it's a masterpiece. Um, but it's a matter of trying to come up with a horror bottle movie that's not Feast. Because I've never been real big on like gore stuff. I mean, granted, From the Womb was very disturbing. Um, thank you, Gary, Charles. Um, but I love doing that one too. Um, it just kind of I gotta do something. I've been making little tiny shorts here and there. My last movie was Gray Matter, and that was me teaming back up with at the time she was Nikki Farce. Now she's Dottie. I can't pronounce her last name, but if you're watching this, I'm sorry. That was cool, and I'm gonna let you guys in since you're live stream, folks. And there's probably only one of you who should be in bed because she has work in the morning. Damn Morgendorfer. Um, I'm gonna let you in a little secret when it comes to Gray Matter. I directed the film. Kind of came up, had the basic concept. I have story by and directed by me. The problem with it, though, is that I wasn't there. I know, I wasn't there. I directed Gray Matter via text, via Facebook message. I would tell her what I wanted. She would shoot it, and then she would send me a clip, and I would be like, yay or nay, shoot this over. Because I really want to work with her. I like working with her. She's easy to work with, and we are able to do things collaboratively, which is great. But then she, we did. It's like a 3 hour drive or 2 3 hour drive, and it's just I'm kind of, it's funny when you stop making movies for a little while, and then you go to start making them again. It's almost like you're starting completely over, and. So this is my kind of starting over thing. It's not real horror. It's more sci-fi. Someone told me it kind of gave him a Black Mirror feel, which is great. Of course, it's not Black Mirror. Nobody can be Black Mirror. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of it. It's kind of got a Strange Days vibe. If you've ever seen the movie Strange Days with Ray Fiennes and Angela Bassett. Um, but what else? What else was there to talk about? Yeah, so the channel. Here's what's going to go on with the channel. Every Tuesday, I'm going to do a live stream like this, so I hope you all tune in and have a good time. And we can talk about all sorts of stuff. You can chat, and I'll see it, and I'll respond, and it'll be a blast. And then every Thursday, there will be a new episode of the 300-second review. Now, basically what the 300-second review is, and I have to thank Mike Detterman for this, he told me I should do a show where I review a movie in 300 seconds. Well, I'm going to do them in 300 seconds or less. And I have a laundry list of films to talk about. Films I've seen, films I haven't seen, films I've never heard of. I'm sure I'm going to be taking suggestions from people to watch so I can review them, because this is going to be an interactive type thing. You ever have it feels like a burp's going to happen, but if you feel like you burp, you're going to throw up? Yeah. So that's what's going to happen. There's all sorts of films from Criterion to Scream Factory. I'm just going to review them all. I don't. There's not many films I'm going to not talk about. But the first movie that I'm going to talk about on the 300-second review this Thursday is The Last Movie Star with Burt Reynolds and Ariel Winter, written and directed by Adam Rifkin. Just I don't want to give anything away, but it's such a good movie. It's really good. But I'll talk about that more in depth on Thursday with the premiere episode of the 300-second review. The best part about that is I can pretty much do it from wherever, and just kind of hold on to them and get them all prepared. And if something comes up like Avengers Infinity War, I'm not going to be able to pre-tape an episode of that. So when it happens, and there you go. What else? I'm also not limiting myself to indie films. I'm also going to do blockbusters and stuff like that too. So that's not a yeah. Oof. It's been one of those days, But yeah, so that's the scuttlebutt, and then I'm still gonna do interviews and stuff like that. And when I do shoot shorts, I'm torn. I do have. Well, let's deal with the interviews real quick. I have an interview coming up um, tomorrow, and I don't know if I'm posting that right away on Thursday or if I'm gonna wait a couple days. But it's gonna be awesome. Also, here's just a big issue when it comes to the short films. It takes way more work to make a short film than it does a YouTube video. And that's not taking away from people who make YouTube videos. But those I'm considering putting up on Vimeo through a paywall. Something cheap. I'm not looking to make a ton of cash, but just something to kind of help offset costs and whatnot. Um, so yeah, there's that. Yeah. And I understand there's not going to be a lot of people coming into this live stream tonight, which is fine. I understand that. You have to grow your audience. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And the one person who's watching, thank you so much. You, one viewer, mean the world to me. You have a special place in my heart. Yeah. So, I want to thank everybody for watching, and please feel free to follow me on all the social media spots, which are in the description. And don't forget, if you like my videos and you want to help support, head over to patreon.com, and the link for that's in the description as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go watch the new Roseanne because I don't care what her politics are. Funny is funny, and I like John Goodman. So to that noise. But yeah, so check out everything and check out the other videos on this channel. I can't wait to talk to more of you, but I love talking to the one person I am talking to. Yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in, who did tune in, or who will be tuning in later on. You're all awesome. And until then, we'll talk to you later.